Now, when talking about the crypto space, every crypto project is born global from the inception. But what is really important is that as an early stage product, to focus on a certain user type and to focus on a certain jurisdiction.
Bitcoin, crypto,
Ethereum, crypto assets,
NFT.
Welcome to Not Another Crypto Show. Hi, welcome back to Not Another Crypto Show. Now, the last couple of episodes have been just FTX, FTX, FTX. And of course, the episode just before this, we had the incredible opportunity of hearing from CZ, talking about Binance's involvement into the whole FTX and the whole where it came from and in his words. And we do have something to follow up, but I wanted to stop the bad news for a moment. I wanted to stop talking about the bad players and the bad actors and the bad opportunities and talk to good people working on good projects that are actually making a difference. So it's with that I'm incredibly proud to bring you someone called, now I am the murderer of names, so I apologize. I'm going to say it's Philip. I'm going to say it's Philip Jonitz. Is that correct, Philip?
That is correct, yes.
If you'd be so kind as to explain who you are and a little about what you're doing at the moment, that'd be wonderful.
Yes, definitely. Thanks for having me, first of all. So I'm Philip, one of the two co-founders of Klink Finance. And what we do at Klink Finance is we bring gamification into the personal finance space. So we built Klink Finance as a gamified crypto asset management platform. Why are we doing this? Is because we want to encourage more positive financial behaviors and easy access towards holding digital assets through the power of gamification. So the beta product that is currently in our testing works like a price-linked savings account. So we built a stablecoin deposit account that doesn't offer fixed-term interest, but instead rewards users for holding their stablecoin based on probability between 1 cent up to $1 million every week. And it is based on a very popular scheme from the UK called premium bonds that you might be familiar with, Jason. So it is a governmental bond that acts in the same manner, so also in a gamified bond manner. It was introduced in 1956, and it is now the largest savings scheme in the UK with over 120 billion invested capital. So we took this mechanism and now introduce it towards holding stablecoin savings.
I love that. It's interesting because a couple of months ago, it might have been a year ago, my partner turned to me and said, why isn't there a premium bond version in crypto? And I said, that's a very good point, because I have premium bonds. Like, I think it's one of the greatest things, and it does gamify it, because every month, for those that don't know, there is a lottery. And for every 1,000 that you put in, you get a lottery number. So the more money you put in, the more lottery numbers you have, which means the more chance you have of winning. And every single month so far, my partner has won. I don't know how she does it, but she just does not seem to lose. I lose all the time. I lost last month. I won this month. And it does make it exciting, because every month you get the email and it says, you've won something, or you didn't win anything this time. And you can also put it back into the account, which allows it obviously to increase with compounding interest, the eighth wonder of the world. Does your system work the same way?
Let me give you a quick history behind the product. So why we started all of it. So
yes, please.
My personal background, I joined the crypto space in 2016, learned about it, invested my first fiat into crypto in 2017, and basically did all the mistakes that you can do. So put too much of my savings into the space, was just following random ads on Twitter, random people posting about coins, and always looking for this high reward, because you see all those great stories about people making a fortune in crypto. And without thinking a lot about the risk, I invested money and lost a lot of funds, and also took funds of friends and invested it for them, because I was the so-called crypto expert in the group, which wasn't the best experience. And I learned a lot from that space. And the more I thought about it, then I felt like there has to be a solution for offering the same type of reward, so offering a lot of upsides while cutting out the downside risk. So this basic idea was why we started ideating about Klink Finance, because we want to offer something that is very engaging and rewarding, but in a more safe manner. So without having this huge downside risk of, first of all, price volatility, but then also losing access to your funds, etc. So you explained it correctly. So we work in a similar manner. So the money that is deposited earns interest. So it basically works like an interest earning account. Users can deposit their stablecoin, and the stablecoin is then distributed across different DeFi and CeFi opportunities and market neutral strategies, taking out the price volatility and earning interest for them. And then the interest is used to pay the prices to the users. So therefore, it is at no times paid more to a user than it can be earned also in the markets right now. And the larger prices that we have, so we also offer the $1 million and $100,000 as a second price. For that, we have an insurance partner that is covering those larger prices. So the financial risk for those prices is not on us. And we also have this third-party insurance partner that runs the selection of winners. So it's about ensuring trust in an early-stage product. Therefore, we're not doing any of the selection or paying out the larger prices ourselves. It's all run through this insurance partner.
Can I ask who the insurance partner is?
It's called Risk London. They're based in the UK.
London.
Yes.
Now,
RISQ. Yes.
RISQ London. I'm going to look into that after this. Thank you very much. So I'm going to take it a step back. You, same as me, like you come into the space, you make all the mistakes, you become the crypto guy, and you do take people's money because you're thinking, well, I know how this works and I can invest in some projects. I recently got pulled, rug pull, myself and a really good friend of mine, three good friends of mine all got trapped, which was terrible. And I feel so guilty because the same as you, I was like, this is going to work and it's a great project. Now you start your own project and it's obviously high risk because you haven't done it before. I'm assuming neither has your co-founder. There's 2 or 3 of you.
Yeah, we're 2 co-founders and we come from different fields. So maybe a bit about my background.
Please, that's what I was leading you to.
Yeah, perfect. So my background is across the startup ecosystem. So I worked with different ventures, mostly around finance and sustainability related topics, based out of Berlin, but also worked with the venture capital firm in Berlin and one of the largest accelerator programs called TechStars, working with one of their programs as well, and with the German stock exchange. So always around finance, but also sustainability related topics, and then spent my last year as a startup consultant. So a self-employed startup consultant, had different teams, mostly out of the TechStars network that I was helping with everything finance, fundraising, business development related. And then at some point was juggling a lot of different projects and decided, okay, I want to now focus on one thing that full time and not do so many things at once. And I was always interested in the space. So I decided to dedicate basically my whole week only to crypto. And then late last year, I met my co-founder, Chris, through a connection in Italy. And they introduced us. We started ideating about the business and then got our first investment early this year and raised our
let me stop you before that. And I want to hear the end of that. So make sure if you're still listening to this podcast to subscribe and to listen to the end where you get to the answer. But you and your partner are iterating. You understand that finance is the way to go and sustainability because of your background. And obviously you've name dropped some incredible things like TechStars, the most successful incubator on the planet. You're coming from Berlin, which is a real hub of innovation. I mean, it invented co-working, which a lot of people aren't even aware of because the Germans don't run around screaming, I did it like the Americans do. Apologies to the American audience, of which there's a lot of you. But it's true. I mean, I recently sold a software company in co-working and I was blown away to find out it started in Germany. And I went to Berlin to meet with like the different founders of that group and how it worked, etc. And you meet your partner and you both agree on this idea, but how do you link that to premium bonds, which, unless your partner's based in the UK, isn't something incredibly obvious to put together?
Yeah, so my co-founder is Irish, and it's not called premium bonds there, but it's called price bonds. And basically, what we also learned over the course of this year is, first of all, the lottery market is still very huge. So people are taking this big bet in their finances and investing their money in lotteries in the hope of winning something. Then there's premium bonds, which is not only popular in the UK, but across the whole Commonwealth. So the principle of price-linked savings is very popular. But then there's a lot of people that crossed our way during the course of this year when we started talking about price-linked savings that feel like they are too smart for the lottery, but also haven't heard about premium bonds or price-linked savings. So it's a very attractive offering because in the end, what it does is winning is a chemical reaction that in the end gives dopamine to your body and you feel happy about something positive happened. So even though you can potentially earn something more in a stable fixed term interest account in a different product, the feeling of winning is something that we as humans need and seek to get. So therefore we are building on this psychology to make dealing with your finances more interesting and exciting, because what we learned is you mostly only look in your bank account or similar when you're afraid that you can't purchase something or you're just worried about not having enough funds. But making it more exciting that you can win something also drives more attention to this important topic of dealing with your personal finances.
So true. I'm asking this as a founder. Whenever I look at premium bonds and the process of how it's done, and I use NS&I, which is a National Savings Institute, they send you an email end of the month. They say, you've won, check it out. You go in, you put your code in, and which is nice as well because it's so different from how normal banking works with your long number, your account number, your sort code, your per word, et cetera, et cetera. It's very simple. The user experience is incredibly well done, but there's no other gamification other than the lottery concept, right? There's no, which doesn't make any sense to me as a startup founder. There's no like share with your network to tell them you've won. Or, if you share this will happen. Like something that sort of triggers off the next layer of gamification, which seems like an obvious thing to do if you already have this clever idea and I'm already sucked in. And like you said, my serotonin through the roof. I'm all super excited. I want to tell people my oxytocin is now built up because I can get that feedback from my friends to go, congratulations, you made some money. That'll create something. Have you added that into your mix of your idea?
Exactly. That's what we also first thought about when we engaged with this idea. So what we are currently doing is implementing those sorts of viral flows into the application, because in the end, as an early stage project, you always have to show how you can gain traction in the market. And the best thing to ensure trust in a new product is by getting a referral from a friend or a trusted source. So what we implemented in this first type of product is a tiered system. So the more friends you refer, the better the benefits you get. So basically, not changing the product, but just increasing the financial incentive for people to invite their friends and families. And the bigger vision that we have for this product is twofold. So one is gamifying financial products, so making it more exciting and rewarding to deal with this. But secondly, also making dealing with your finances a social aspect. So imagine your premium bonds pooled together in a syndicate or a pool with your work colleagues or your friends. So then you can even compete against other friends groups or share your winnings and talk about it. So making it very interactive, a product that is otherwise very stable and interest-bearing account is a boring product, so no one really talks about it.
Yeah.
But this way, it's much more exciting and rewarding, and we can even incentivize this sharing of, hey, I won this week, for example, as you said.
I love that. There's so many great opportunities within that space. Is there also that same idea of, as Warren Buffett famously said, compounding is the eighth wonder of the world. I think it was actually Albert Einstein, so apologies to Albert and apologies to Warren. But like this idea that, yes, there's a winning opportunity, but I actually win by just leaving my money in for longer. And the better I'm going to do is by giving small increments of money or large increments, depending on what you can afford, but then leaving it in for those wins. Is that the same sort of mentality that you're building into yours?
Exactly. So that's the basic idea, because what is our mission with this is that we want to drive positive financial incentives. And one important thing is to not give users the chance of gaming the system, because this is always, what you will find a lot, that people try to game your game. So how we do this is basically every Saturday, the winners of the week are announced. And the later you deposit during the week, that minimizes the chance of winning. So you have to hold your funds for a full week. So this way, we want to incentivize people of keeping their funds and also keeping their winnings inside the product. And one more important topic about bringing a financial product in the space is talking about a token, because this is something that we always get asked. We are building a crypto project, and especially during these times, and I mean, you talked a lot about FTX also over the last episodes, a token for us is not included in this product because it's something that we don't need and where we feel we attract the wrong audience with it. So therefore, we decided to stay away and build a USDC deposit account. So it's a stablecoin deposit account without our own token.
I love that. And I think it is so important right now not to go for that jump because all the things you talked about, because of the fear, because of the stigma. And I think we're all going to have a bit of a hangover from this FTX debacle for time to come. And I guess that leads to the next question. What has the market been like? You said you raised money, right? So let me start with that. How much did you eventually raise? And was it from one major VC or was it from a conglomerate of vulture capitalists?
We closed a pre-seed round of $500,000 during the course of this year. So we split it in a first smaller round that we started in Italy. So we were first backed by a venture studio in Italy that supported us also with the initial team of developers to build a prototype, but then closed in August our pre-seed round with mostly Singapore-based venture capital firms. So it was led by Blockchain Founders Fund based out of Singapore with participation of Signum Capital, UOB Venture Management, and a crypto hedge fund from New York called TechMeetsTrader. So they came together to back the early phase of this product because they see the big potential of gamification in the finance space. But I can say it wasn't an easy task during the course of this year.
Well, that is exactly my lead question. Like, what's it been like because of this year, because we're in the crypto winter and because of the scandals and upsets that we've had?
So, I mean, venture capital funding in the crypto space went down from, I think it was around 10 billion per quarter last year to now 3.3 billion a quarter this year. So it decreased a lot. And also the trust in the space was decreasing. So when we first started with the product and built the initial prototype, then basically the Terra Luna debacle happened. So there was the time when we spoke to investors. And from my experience, European investors are also not that deep into the crypto space compared to what we now have experienced in Singapore and also the US. So we started initially talking to European funds, and especially during the times of crash, it was always very hard to convince someone to invest at such an early stage because we were pre-traction and we had just this big vision. But when we started talking to funds in Singapore, we quite fast found strong believers in our vision. So therefore, this leap from Europe to Singapore was very successful for us.
What has traction been like for you? How have you found that? And where have you found that? Has there been a geographical area that's doing better than another, or a type of age group, or a type of user?
So what we did at first is analyze a lot what other products are in the market and which type of group is drawn towards those products. So what we found for similar products also in the US was that mostly the age group is between 20 to 30 years old, and mostly middle to low income groups, household groups that engage in those types of price-linked savings. Now, when talking about the crypto space, every crypto project is born global from the inception. But what is really important is that as an early stage product, to focus on a certain user type and to focus on a certain jurisdiction. And what we learned also when talking to investors across the globe is jurisdictions that are familiar with this mechanism of premium bonds, of price-linked savings, it's so much easier to convey the message of our product. So that's also why we start with the focus on the UK. And in the UK, we focus on people that engage with price-linked savings. So it's in the UK, it is 1 in every 3 people have some sort of premium bonds or definitely know about this type of product. But then we look at the digital native, crypto interested people who are mostly between 20 to 25 years old, up to 30. So that's the range that we are initially targeting with our product. And now, since we started, we already got more than 10,000 signups for this product, even though we didn't really push out our marketing, but we are still in an internal testing because it takes quite a while to have a regulated, fully functioning financial product. And we want to be 100% certain that everything works before letting the first users deposit their assets on our product.
I think that's the big thing, right? With finance or with medical. I used to have a med tech business, which I sold, and people used to talk about MVPs, and I'd say how lucky you are to be able to have an MVP, because you can't do that in finance or medicine. It has to work. It has to be proven to work. It has to have a registration bodies that have proven it to work. It has to go through all kinds of paperwork, and that's good because you want that. That gives you the security that you need to invest your health or your wealth, right? Which are the two things that most people should care about the most. What does success look like for you in this project? Do you have incremental success where you're saying, well, it's this many users, or it's this much money made, or it's this much money given? What does that look like for you and the company?
For us, with the vision that we have for this product, it's sustainability in paying back returns to our users and also letting them engage in positive financial behaviors, because what we see is that mass market adoption for crypto is on the horizon. So we see a lot of institutional investors moving into the space. We see regulation, the MiCA framework in Europe upcoming. So everything is getting ready for this mass market adoption. And for us, success means right now building a product that can scale in a sustainable way. So we are not looking for a quick success with this. And we also, why we decided to have this somehow gamified incentive to users is we don't want to compete with high interest rates, what we've seen during the course of this year, where businesses were competing with 10, 15, 20% that can't be sustainable, and they attracted their users in a non-sustainable way. So for us, success means attracting users with the form of gamification to sustainable and scalable product that will grow over the next coming years. So we are not looking for this quick success, but for the long-term success of the product.
And having venture capital, does that mean that they're constantly asking grow above all else, grow above profitability, grow above everything, just keep giving money to Google, PPC, keep giving money to Facebook for advertising, keep giving money? Is that the kind of story that they're on? Or is there a slight piece of educate your audience, let them know why this is important?
I think it has changed a lot during the course of this year. So seeing so many big players fail, I mean, if you at the beginning of this year build a competitor slide of CFI businesses in the space, then this would be pretty much empty right now. So what we have seen is that grow over sustainability is not a good model. And also venture capitalists shift the narrative nowadays to, we want to see sustainable revenue streams. We want to see long-term success. We want to see that the founder understands the mechanics in its business over just building something that only goes viral and then at a later stage figures out how it works. So we are very happy with the investors that we have. They understand the environment that we are currently in. It is also a difficult environment to build something, but I'm personally very glad that we are building in the current ecosystem, because what we see is a lot of good new behaviors are introduced to the market. So much more transparency is introduced, much more proof of reserves for exchanges, for example. So we are definitely sad about so many people losing their funds, about the lack in trust in the whole space. But it's also a big opportunity for startups currently building to directly implement those best practices and build more sustainable ventures.
I like that. It's a great message to everyone listening. This is the time to build. And the benefit of bad times is, as I've quoted multiple times, when the tide goes out, you find out who's been skinny dipping. This is an opportunity to see who's real and who's not. This is an opportunity to see people make things that are going to be sustainable, that are going to be the next JP Morgan or the next AXA Insurance or the next businesses that will last for 50 to 100 years. Not exactly as you said, companies that go viral and then have to work it out afterwards. Suddenly they're big, suddenly they're popular, and now they need to work out the mechanics behind it. And on the subject of mechanics, is your company, are you focused on more of a website sort of user journey? Is it app driven? We're hearing a lot about obviously blockchain apps right now, and especially gamification. This whole season pretty much has been about these three things: play to earn, blockchain, apps, and and the user experience being different, laptop versus your mobile. Where are you at in that space?
We decided to first introduce an app. So we have an iOS and Android app that we are currently building. And
what is it? This is a good chance to plug your app. What is the name of the app? So everyone can go to it now and download it. What's the name of it?
The app is called Klink Finance, but you cannot, unfortunately, download it at the moment because we are still in internal testing right now. But I'm very happy to come again and introduce when it's up and live, and then I can tell you a bit more about the data that we were able to collect. But we decided for a mobile application because it's also what you see in the fintech space. So people used to fintech applications, fintech native people, you have a lot of different applications on their mobile phone. And therefore, we also decided to have this as our first product with Klink Finance.
I love that. We're in the last couple of minutes of the show. I'd love to have your prediction of where you see yourself and your company 3 years from now.
That's a very interesting last question. So where I see us in 3 years from now is executing on the vision that I initially presented. So we want to build a gamified crypto asset management platform. What that entails is not just this first deposit product, but also various different financial products where we give the user the access to the opportunities in the DeFi space. Because how we are building is we're combining the ease of usage of a CeFi platform with the opportunities of the DeFi space. So this is the vision that we want to execute upon, whilst also giving the mass market access to these opportunities, which comes with a lot of education, because this is the biggest aspect for everyone right now involved in the space, especially with the lack of trust at the moment, is education is very necessary. So exactly what you are doing here, hosting those shows, that is extremely important for the whole space to ensure that there are builders working on trustworthy products that are worth being around in the financial space. So that's where I see the company in 3 years from now operating a very sustainable financial product that helps give more positive financial behaviors to people.
Dankeschön. I think that's important for all of us. And I say thank you on behalf of every single person listening to the show, because it is something we need. And it's nice to hear someone talk about a longer term vision than what we're currently hearing from so many. I mean, I can't tell you how many episodes we don't air because we have these episodes and I ask that question and they go, and you can hear they've never thought about it. They're just working out how to get through this year, and we're in November, so that's really scary. Where can our audience find out more about you and your project so they can become a part of what you're creating?
Please visit our website, klinkfinance.com, check out our Twitter, or join our Discord. I'm very happy to hear all your thoughts about the product and implement them in our early stage build process. So please reach out also to me directly.
Absolutely love that. That is the end of our episode. Like we keep talking about right now is the time to get educated. Now is the time to build. Now is the time to find your tribe. Your tribe's already out there. They're solving the problems that you care about. That's what we keep bringing you on this show. It's why we have people like Philip on the show, because we want to show you that it is being done. Yes, the media is jumping on bad news because bad news sells papers. If it bleeds, it leads is the famous newspaper term. They're not talking about the great projects, the great founders, the great things that are being built to support you and your finance. And again, Like I said, everyone, the most important things that count in this world is hope, health, and wealth. And I can bring you a lot of knowledge about wealth. I can only hope that this gives you hope and that in time you pay attention to your health, because it is the biggest investment you'll ever make. Thank you for listening to Not Another Crypto Show.
Making a high-quality podcast like this one takes a lot of work. That's a fact. But not when you hire a podcast company. With our white glove experience, we handle everything for you. From guest outreach all the way through to publishing and promotion, we handle it all. You show up to hold great interviews and build relationships with your guests, and we take care of everything else. Podcasting is not just about the audience. Every podcast interview is the start of a new relationship. With a weekly podcast, you'd build relationships with 52 ideal partners or prospects through your podcast interviews over the next 12 months. Do you believe that 52 new relationships would help grow your business? We do. Contact Jason at apodcastcompany.com and let's talk.